Good afternoon. Today we are working on CO19. I can convert a decimal to a percentage. The first part of this unit is going to focus on the relationships between decimals and fractions and percentages. As it turns out, they're all related, and it's important to know how to convert from one to another because different data sets may use one of the three forms more than the others. So you need to know how to compare a decimal with a fraction with a percentage. So we need to know how to convert those. Remember that percentages are out of 100. 0% means nothing. You got 0. 100% is everything or one whole. Because of this, it might help to write the decimal out to the hundredths place. Divide the line below into tenths. Then show where the given values would be. Write each as both a decimal and a percentage. So we want to divide up our line. So I'm going to start, let's see. So you're dividing up the line. Then we have all of these different values down below. We have 30%, we have 65 hundredths, we have 99%, we have 8 hundredths, 25%, 100%, and 82 hundredths. So remember, when those decimals go out to that second decimal place, that's the hundredths place. So our percentages are always out of 100. So we need to look at this and decide where these would fall on our line. If this is 0% and this is 100%, from one end to the other, where would these different values fall? So let's look at our first one, 30%. Where should I put 30% on our line? Leah? So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to put the 30% on that third line. Okay, so yeah. So going off of the 0, so this would be 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put 30% on that third line. And then we have 65 hundredths. Where would I put 65 hundredths, Maddie?
Halfway between the 6 line and the 7.
Halfway between the 6 and the 7. So if this is 3, 4, 5, 6. So about right here would be 0.65. Then we have 99%. Where would 99% fall?
Right at the end of the 100.
Yeah, right at the end before the 100% would be 99%. Then we have 8 hundredths. Where would 8 hundredths fall, Kirsten?
Probably close to the line after 0. Probably right there.
Close to that one line. Then we have 25%. Izzy?
Kind of right in the middle of the third line.
Yeah, between the second and the third line. Then we have 100%. I already labeled the 100%. And we have 82 hundredths. Where would 82 hundredths fall, Molly?
82 hundredths. It would fall like right it would fall between 80 and 90, but like closer to the 80 side.
Yeah, it's going to be closer to that eighth line. So know the difference in values between 9/10 and 9/100. So when we're looking at those decimals, you need to really think the difference between 9/10 and 9/100. They are not the same value. If we were to put the 0 after the 9 and it's 90/100, then they would be equivalent. So 9/10 and 90/100 are the same. 9/10 and 9/100 are very different. If we looked at them as fractions, 9/10 would look like this. 90/100 looks like that. So we multiplied a 10 to both sides. Very different than 9/100. So we have to be very careful when we're looking at those decimals. And we're saying to ourselves, what is the number? What is the value? Computers should be closed. Oh, absolutely not. We'll talk about that later. So 9/10 and 9/100 are two very different values. So down below, you need to write the equivalent percentage or decimal. So we need to convert them back and forth. So if we're looking at a decimal point, it's 65/100 is same as saying 65%. Okay, so you need to be able to convert them back and forth. 8/100 would be 8%. So we have to be careful. It's not 80%, it is 8%. So look at 7/10. What would 7/10 be, Ryan?
70%.
Yeah, because it's out of the tenths, but we know we need to look at hundredths to go from decimal to percentage. So 7/10 is the same as 70/100, so it would be 70%. How would 3% look as a decimal, Joseph?
What?
How would 3% look as a decimal?
300.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I was thinking as a fraction, but that's my mistake. So 300ths looks like that. I was thinking you were going to tell me what to write is what I was looking for. So 0.03. Because a lot of times we can say 300ths, but then we write it wrong as our decimal point. So we need to remember that when we say 300ths, there's a 0 in that tenths place. Okay, so remember you have to put the 0 in the correct place. A lot of times people confuse that 0.09 and that 0.9. So make sure you're putting the 0 in the correct place. How would 8/100 look as a percentage, Leah? 8%. What about 1/10? Owen? 10%. And what about 60%? Chase?
60% is 0.6.
So if we do 0.6 at 6/10, it would be the same as if we said 60/100. Both answers are fine because they are equivalent. So you could say 6/10, you could say 60/100. Either way is acceptable. So your homework for today is just doing that converting decimals to percentages. And then the questions on the bottom. It's a short assignment today. When you are done with the assignment, you can work on your math packet. You can work on Khan Academy. So for my friends at home, we are going to say goodbye and have a great afternoon.